name is Lovern Piera, and since I was a child, a lot of negative series have stuff happened in my life, and I started to being a withdrawn child. I started to hold things within. I was never a child then who was open. I wasn't open. I started harboring feelings, negative feelings, and it grew. The feelings grew. It became so that I was always angry and I was full of hate. I had this malice against anyone or any person who did me anything. I harbored these resentful feelings against them. I was never willing to forgive.
Lovern's love life was a mess. Her marriage was collapsing due to her husband's addiction and her incapability to handle it.
In my marriage, my husband used to drink and he used to smoke. And I always would row and quarrel with him. When in Saturdays he came home, I would always be there as soon as he entered. This violent, angry person, always rowing and picking at him. And I never see or never understand that my husband, he couldn't handle the things that I was doing, and so it caused him to drink more.
Their relationship turned into a violent one. Both threatened one another, and Lovern reached a point where she nearly took her husband's life.
One night he came in, and same anger inside of me. We started to argue, and he picked up the cutlass, and he threatened to kill me. And I was so overcome with fear and anger, I took the cutlass away from him, and I beat him with it. And that wasn't all. I feel so thrilled by what I did. I couldn't wait for the second time or the third time for it to happen. When he came home, I picked up the bat the second time and I beat him. But the third time, when I did it, there was something that I see myself that this wasn't the person that I want to be. So I put down the bat and I started to scream out of frustration, out of anger, all those bad feelings that was inside of me. I screamed, and my sister came over and I said, I can't deal with this anymore. Something has to be done. I have to change.
Lovern's son grew and was introduced to the life of drugs. His addiction affected her family, and Lovern realized she had also lost her son.
I knew what the marijuana addiction cut down because I had a previous marriage where my first husband, he was addicted to cocaine, and because of his addiction, he died. So that marriage failed, because of that. And so I never wanted my son to go down that drain. So when I realized that he was into the marijuana, I would speak to him and he wouldn't listen. And one day he said to me that, Mom, I am a big man. I have to live my life. You can't live my life for me. You can't tell me what to do. And that moment I realized that my children were going away from me, right? And I realized that I was the one, right? I need to do something about it.
Even though she was surrounded by many, Lovern had an empty space in her heart, which she was unable to fill no matter what she tried to do.
Sometimes I would feel so lonely. Even though I have my husband and I have my children, I would feel so lonely or so alone that I would cry and cry and cry, and I would ask God, I said, what have I done? Am I such a terrible person? Did I commit so many wrong that you won't have mercy on me to allow me to come out of this situation and stuff like that, and I never know what to do about it because I would be so full of doubt, and afraid most of the time. I used to be very, very fearful within myself.
Stay with us and witness part 2 of Lovern Piera's testimony.